Good morning, delegates. Welcome to Transforming Transportation, Connecting People for Sustainable Growth. I am going to take that title quite literally, so look around the room and see somebody you do not know. Make eye contact, say hello to them. We are connecting for sustainable growth. Is nobody going to stand up and walk over to somebody? Are we connected yet? Yes? Excellent, excellent connecting. I know it's going to be a great day. All right, you can stop connecting now. I am very impressed. So my name is Femi Oke. I will be moderating the plenaries in this space today. This is a World Bank and World Resources Institute production. Together they have made this magic happen today and also tomorrow. We start with Axel van Trotstenberg. He's the World Bank MD of Operations. I asked him, what does he love about his job? MD, walk this way so we can see your love of your job. Thank you so much. He says, it is so much fun. We will see if his welcome remarks live up to that. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for the introduction. Good morning, everybody, and good morning and good day to everybody who's connected. Wonderful to see you, and also great to be here to open this transport event. I think it's very important when we are thinking about transport and putting this in the broader development context we are facing. I was yesterday in New York and talking with the UN about the Sustainable Development Goals. And clearly, we are starting this decade with a countdown. And we have to think in all sectors whether we are going to meet these goals, yes or no, and how the different sectors can contribute to this. And here we are seeing that particularly the transport sector has many challenges. First, I think that many people are still very much excluded from the transport sector, and people are not able to access it easily. And these are still 1 billion people. So this is one of the. The second one is, how safe is transport? Safe with road fatalities, but is it also safe in transport for women and children to take public transport? How well are we doing? Fortunately, I think we have much more discussion about sexual harassment in general in public transportation, and I think this is a major challenge. The other one is the issue about emissions. And here, what we are seeing in some of the mega cities, the enormous pollution that is also caused by transport will need to be addressed. And finally, I think is, and that links back to the SDGs, how well are we doing in terms of closing the gap? And everybody has seen all the estimates that are existing, how many hundreds of millions, billions are necessary every year to close this gap. So I think what we really need to think, also use this event for, is to reflect on how can we make basically transport more inclusive, how can we make it more safe, as well as how can transport contribute to the challenge we are facing with climate change and reducing emissions. And so we all need to see how we can bring it, and we will need to have innovative solutions, and we need to see everybody who can contribute to this. And certainly the bank is challenged here. We had a capital increase both for IBRD and IFC, and we have recently successfully concluded the next negotiation for IDA 19. And particularly IDA 18 and 19 saw an enormous increase to the previous replenishments. So this is one of the things, is where can IDA make a major contributions? If you are looking in the IDA 50 to 70, on average, we were committing in the order of $7.5 billion per replenishment. Now, I think IDA 18 is still underway. We'll see if we are able to scale this up. Similar with IBRD, we were often at the $3.5 billion, and then you have IFC. So what we need to see is what can the World Bank Group together do, and here we will need to work closely with our colleagues from the IFC and MIGA to also find private sector solutions, but really to see how we can scale it. However, we will need to think differently about this project. It cannot be the standard projects we did in the 80s or 90s. It will need to meet the test with climate change. The climate co-benefits will have to be very, very high in these projects. I think that projects that don't have a very high percentage will not be considered here. Secondly, we will need to make the test that in terms of inclusivity, and particularly dealing with people who are still shut out of the transport system. I think that is particularly important in Africa, and I would like to close to that with the changes and with the capital increase, but also the challenge we are facing, you are going to see the World Bank Group moving increasingly its operations in Africa. So just to give you a sense, only for IDA 19, we are expecting out of the $82 billion, at least 53 billion going to Africa. So I think Africa will certainly be at the forefront for our challenge. We need to keep that focus, and transport will have to make a contribution to this. It will not be the only, there will be others as well. I would like to put another test. Unfortunately, we're also challenged by increasing fragility in many parts in the world, including in Africa. And here again, we will need to be in the forefront on this in terms of when the situation also allows for the reconstruction, but also for the longer sustainable development. So I hope that we will have this discussion not only at the 30,000 feet level and have a general discussion, but we'll need to look at this discussion particularly through the IDA lens, and that we are making sure that particularly those who have still not have the access, and also the possibility to get better and more safer transport, that we have to work on that. And I would certainly challenge you to come up with recommendations. I think it's also important that we are using the IFC for this, that they are providing the private sector perspective, but also all those who are joining us. It would be great to provide that perspective. I'm also particularly happy that we are not doing this alone, but with the World Resources Institute. Thank you for co-organizing this. This is great. And finally, also that as I talked about Africa, that it is very, very good that we have colleagues from Africa joining us, particularly from the Africa Union, to provide a little bit more of a perspective. And for that, we have Dr. Amani Abu Zaid with us, and she will continue the Africa perspective. So have a successful event, and please keep the focus on Africa, inclusivity, and climate change. Thank you.
Hello, streamers. Hello, online. It's so good to see you. Thank you for following us wherever you are in the world. live.worldbank.org. We are having a conversation in this room, but there is no reason that you cannot be having a conversation online. You can do it. If your question is good, You may well hear it on the stage. That is a challenge for you. It will be curated, but really do be part of this conversation. The hashtag, if you're tweeting, if you're following, if you're on any social media platform, is hashtag TTDC20. TTDC20. I am thinking that with all of you eager people in the room, there is no way that we could not trend in Washington, D.C. I think that's too easy. We should try and trend in the world. No pressure. So that is how you can comment on social and online. How do you comment in the room? There should be 2 microphones in the room. Do you see them in the middle? Do we have them? Are they there? Yep, great. Fantastic. Who's standing nearest to the microphone? Stand up. Thank you, volunteer. Who are you?
John Wetmore.
All right, that's so much better than testing, 1, 2, 3. How did you get here? What method of transport did you use?
I walked to Metro and then walked from Metro to the rest of the way.
Fantastic. The rest of this session will be even more exciting than that. Thank you so much, sir. Just building up the suspense, the excitement. This is the 17th year of TT, but it's the first time that we've gone paperless. There is no paper. Apart from here, I'm blotting the team down. But if you want to follow the plenaries, the conference, you can do so, but you have to go paperless. Shall we show them how to do it? It will just magically appear as I continue to speak. All right. We also have a conference app back here. It will also be in your packet. We'll keep that up for a little while so you can see, how do I follow the conference online? How do I do it on the app as well? We have 2 days of incredible keynotes and plenaries, which are a global perspective on transport and transforming transport and connecting and development. We have fireside chats, we have breakout sessions. You're going to be exhausted by Friday. But I think one of the hardest things to do is to do the first keynote. The pressure on the first keynote. Who could possibly do that? It has to be good. It has to be pithy. It has to have energy. Amani Abu Zaid, could you stand here for a moment, please? Thank you. Amani Abu Zaid is the Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy for the African Union, and she is going to be the voice of Africa and the voice of the very first keynote for this conference. Good morning, Africa. Good morning. One of my favorite places.
Good morning, world.